Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/ProRevenge, where OP ruined the life of his cheating ex and her terrible mother. Let's begin. Fired from my job, but received a year's worth of pay and got my boss fired. Posted by Reddit user Fluffy Supermarket.
This happened in the early 2010 seconds, before the advancement of technology in video editing and content creation. I was hired as a content creator for a university that wanted to leverage YouTube to kickstart their branding campaign. The pay was low, and in those days, there were not that many video content creators around, and the process usually took a long time from start to finish. I was hired, and on my second day, my manager presented my KPI of 85 3 to 10 minute videos in 52 weeks, which was impossible for a one-man team in those days. This meant I had to do the scripting, producing, casting talents, shooting videos, composing music, and editing, all of which I had to use my own equipment and software because their cameras and computers were so old. They simply couldn't handle the strain of even doing things in 720p, much less 1080p. I tried to let my manager know, but she just smiled encouragingly, telling me to give it a try, assuring me if the videos were good, the quantity would not be what she focused on. Hearing this, I agreed to give it a try. My manager treated me well in the first month. However, one day when she found out I was a smoker, her attitude changed overnight. A colleague had actually done a facepalm when I told her about it, and she let me know that the manager hated smokers and often advocated to get them fired. She started nitpicking me on everything, from smelling like cigarette smoke after my breaks, coming in 5 to 10 minutes late despite doing more than 4 hours of overtime daily, not being contactable during break times. The list goes on, but I soldiered on because I just wanted to do the work and do it well. 5 months in, I was called into the director's office where I saw my manager putting on her best displeased but gleeful face, and I felt my stomach drop. The director told me that she was disappointed because she had heard that I was falling behind on my work. It was already halfway through the year and I had only completed 30 out of my 85 videos. I tried to explain that I had been working my butt off on these videos. I literally worked 6 days out of the week, over 60 hours, just to do what needed to be done, and that being a one-man army made things impossible. And also the fact that the videos I had put up grossed the highest views ever on their YouTube page. I also recounted how my manager said that she was looking for quality videos over quantity. The director dismissed this and stated that the KPI was simply 85 videos in a year, and since it was almost half a year and with my numbers at less than half, she felt it prudent to cut the cord early. I asked how would they even meet the KPI if they were to fire me now. My manager had snorted, saying, "We'll find a professional production house to finish your work." The director had given her an odd look, but nodded in her support nonetheless, telling me, "You don't need to worry, manager will get the job done." That was when a light bulb went off in my head. Seeing as I was the content professional in the office, one of my jobs was to keep a database of production houses to use in the event we needed to do a shoot that required more resources, and I was sure that they would be using the production houses in my database, as my manager had no contacts in the production industry. So I changed the contact numbers and messed up all the emails on all of the entries except one. The one I had a friend working as a junior director, not an assistant director, but a director assigned to smaller video projects. I gave him a call and told him of my plan, and sure enough, within 2 days, they were called to come in to pitch. I told him that I had a plan that was a win-win for us. It would instantly help him and put him on the fast track to a director position by bringing in that much business to his production house, and it would also benefit me financially. I would teach him exactly how to pitch to win over the boss and the director, and in turn, his company would pay me a standard finder's fee of 15%. He agreed instantly and immediately put me on the line with his general manager, who upon realizing this was to be 6 months of work for a high 6-digit payout, instantly agreed and drew up a contract. As it turns out, after I gave them a metaphorical step-by-step playbook, they were the perfect fit, somehow understanding the needs and style of the university, as well as the sort of themes the university wanted to feature. The director and my former boss were amazed that my friend's production house was so familiar with their content that they signed them up on the spot. Now, even back then, using a production house was not cheap. Each video that they produced could cost double to triple my monthly salary, given that they had specialized people for each function. But this meant that they could complete a video every 2 to 3 days. So yes, they produced 50 videos in a span of 4 months for over 100 months of my salary, and I sat back and collected the healthy 15%. which was about 15 months of my salary. This allowed me to put money aside for a holiday and the rest to further my studies with a respected film school overseas. I thought my plan ended here and I had gotten back at my former bosses, but to my surprise, I received a call from my colleague while I was on holiday in Bali one day. This was the same colleague who had facebombed when I told her that my manager had found out that I was a smoker. She told me that my former manager had been fired, and my director given a massive blasting by the chancellor of the university. The content creation project, which I was hired for, was only given a budget equating to about a year and a half of my salary, and they had exceeded that budget by over 10 times. My former manager was so desperate to ensure that her content creation project could be completed that she had thrown caution to the wind, paying anything to get the job done so that she could show my director that she had completed the project, and had approved the massive spend without getting consent from the director. So that is how I got my friend a super fast promotion to a full director in his production house, and a year of pay after getting unfairly fired from my job.
You know, OP, I feel your pain. I do this YouTube shit for a living now, and it's already a nightmare despite my format being relatively easy compared to others, probably because I'm a one-man band and of my daily upload schedule. It's not the hardest job on the planet, sure, but also definitely not a walk in the park either. And this comment by Reddit user Gem Hadar Slayer perfectly summed up how I feel about this post.
People who have never done video editing have no fucking clue how laborious that shit is. I can't even imagine people that produce CGI. The disrespect that the creatives get from people who have never done those types of jobs is hard to believe.
My almost ex-mother-in-law fired me unrightfully, so I destroyed her company. Posted by Reddit user What's My Name 83.
Hey everyone. I decided to share my story. It all took place 17 years ago, but I feel like it belongs here. At that time I was 20 years old and dated my first true love. We had been together for 1.5 years already and everything was just great. Her mother really liked me and she had her own company which traded fashion clothes for kids. She made tons of money. They needed someone to drive one of their 3.5-ton truck and she came up with an idea to hire me because I was unhappy with the job I had. So as a win-win situation, I accepted her offer and we started working together. Job was okay, even though I had to work a huge amount of overtimes because she thoroughly introduced me how the whole company worked. She had a huge storage facility, a store, and 2 trucks, one that I drove and a big one. I worked for her for like 1 year and in that time, I knew every single thing about the company because she trusted me with also the dirty secrets. This is where things took a huge turn. I found out that my girlfriend cheated on me with her ex, and as a result I broke up with her instantly. It was an ugly situation, and after it went down, I called her mother and told her what was going on and that I don't want to mix things with business, so I will still be there for work, even though I don't want to see her daughter again. She said everything is alright, but of course she sided with her daughter and I felt that she was mad at me because of the breakup. I went to work and acted as a professional should, took all the drama aside. However, soon after she singled me out and started looking for mistakes so she could discipline me. This had been going on for months and I realized she was just waiting for an excuse to fire me, but I wasn't going to give that reason to her that easily. She was pissed that she couldn't find big mistakes, and the small ones she often just made up was not enough to terminate me. So she came up with a plan. On the truck, we had a power generator which provided a light and a power for laptop, printers, and so on. It worked in 2 ways, with fuel when we were on the road and with cable in case we were at the storage. But it was not made by a company, they just hired an electrician for that and he made an error, so we had to flip a switch all the time if we used it with a cable connection, otherwise it would burn down. As I loaded the truck, she convinced a coworker to flip the switch back and after a few minutes, the lights were gone and I noticed something wrong. It burned out of course, but I knew I didn't forget the switch because I was loading the truck for an hour, and it only took 5 minutes tops to burn out, so it couldn't be me. She didn't even hear me out, started yelling, fired me on the spot, and stated that she gonna pay the repairs out of my last salary, so don't expect any money from her. I didn't took that lightly and told her that, I don't think you want to go this way with me, but she refused to listen. It took a few days for me to cool down, but I wanted to give her a last chance. I called her and told her even though I know what was going on and she did set me up, but if I get my money, I will call it an end, and we don't have to see each other again. She told me to fuck off, so I came up with a plan. First, because I knew that the store she had didn't have a bathroom, which was illegal in my country. The shop assistants had an agreement with a restaurant on the opposite side to go there if they needed. I reported this to the authorities, and the next day, they closed the shop because of this violation, and told her she can't open up until they have a bathroom. She called me right away and asked me if I had anything to do with this. I laughed and told her, "Didn't I told you that you don't want to go this way with me?" and hung up. I knew that we worked so much overtime that me and the other truck driver had so much overdrive on the taco cards. It records how many hours you drive and how fast and when you stop. So I called the authorities again and told them everything. They went and checked all the records and gave the company a brutal fine. She sent me obscene text messages all day long after that. I replied, "Ain't done yet." Then silence. A few hours went by and my phone rang. She called and asked me if we could talk it over. She even said she sent me my last paycheck, but I shut her down immediately and told her, too late for that. And I called the fire department and told them that the wires they had in the walls of the store were outdated, which caused short circuits daily, and that they only have 2 fire extinguishers for the whole place when they should have like 12 to 15. On that very day, they had to close the storage as well, so she lost the last place where she could make money for months until they got everything up to date and renewed all the wires, which cost a huge amount of money. Because of the fines she got from the different authorities, she couldn't afford these renovations, of course. Few months later, she filed for bankruptcy. I know, because my ex-girlfriend called me with, "I hope you're happy, asshole. You made my family bankrupt." I never got my paycheck, but at that point I didn't even care anymore. I was happy with the outcome. I hope you enjoyed my story. Short update: I never thought that my post was gonna get so much attention. First of all, thank you for all the support. I tried to answer to every one of you. I got a bunch of messages from people asking questions, and I thought the best way is to make an update, instead of typing the same thing to everyone over and over. Also, thank you for all the awards. Oh, and sorry in advance for my grammar. Let's get into it. So after a few months, the tax department took almost everything from her. Store, stuff, storage, trucks, the whole 9 yards. She got so much fines from different authorities that she could not pay it. So after everything was gone, she sold her house, moved to a smaller apartment, and never owned a business again. As far as I know, she works in a store as a clerk. Things are not looking good. My ex-girlfriend, well, she married the next guy and now they have 4 kids. After the second child, she really let herself go, and now if I'm happy that I didn't have a child from her, I'm not gonna fat shame her, but damn.
Good Lord, how is he so fat?
At least they are still together, so maybe, just maybe, she learned a lesson and did not cheat on him, or so I hope. About me, I had a long relationship after her. My son was born, but she was a lazy-ass gold digger, so after 5 years we separated. I've met the love of my life after that, and for almost 9 years we are still happy together. She also got out of a terrible relationship, so she truly appreciates me and vice versa. I love her to death. I hope I answered all the questions. Love you all. Bye.
Holy shit, OP. This was some truly epic revenge. All she had to do was not be a petty asshole and stay professional. You didn't deserve any of that treatment from either of them. They did this to themselves. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.